When you're doing web dev, you have your users update data. Pretty obvious. You've got two ways to do things, either optimistic updates or pessimistic updates. So in this video, we're going to take a look at what those are, and then we're going to see why you want to use either or, and then how it's implemented in Nuxt and Vue. So here we have a very simple example. We've got some data, user data. We've got the same data left and right, but with two approaches to update the data. We've got first name, last name, and their favorite color. Pretty simple stuff. Let's take a look at what happens in the pessimistic approach. So in the pessimistic approach, we say that we don't know if the update is going to go fine in the server. So we actually change the value, and then we wait for the server to return, and then we actually show the results in the actual UI. This is okay for forms when you have a button that can actually show a loading state, but here in this case, it doesn't, right? Like when I click on it, the popper disappears, the pop-over disappears, and then I'm waiting for the response. And I've added some delay in the server call just to kind of mimic what happens here. So it's not ideal UX-wise, but at least we're sure that the data has been changed in this case. On the optimistic approach here on the right, we change the value, it changes right away, and then dolls the call to the server. If nothing happens, if everything goes right, we don't show anything, just the user assumes that it's okay. If there's a problem, we actually show an error. So actually, let's go into the code here. I'm going to simulate an error, so I can uncomment this. And by the way, all the code is available in the GitHub repo, so feel free to use it. And so here in this case, in my optimistic approach, if I just give it a refresh, might not be necessary, but in my optimistic approach, if I change it, it's going to change. It's going to encounter the error in the server, and then it's going to say an error occurred, the color has not been modified, and then I actually revert back to the old value in this case. And then in the pessimistic approach, it's going to be pretty much, well, it's not going to be similar, but if I change the value, it's going to wait for the call to fail, and then it's not going to do anything. And I can still show like a notification saying, hey, an error occurred, the color has not been modified. So you can see the pros and cons. For user, in terms of user friendliness, the right side is much better and up to modern standards probably. Let's take a look at how it's done under the hood. So really in the code, if you look at the code, and I'm going to walk you through it, the most important piece is those two components. So there's a pessimistic color display edit, which has a drop down, and an optimistic one. I'm going to start with the pessimistic. So just so you know, we're using Nuxt UI here. Love this library, and basically it's going to wrapper on top of fundamental elements, but it makes the whole experience going to look better. So I tend to use it. So here we have a select menu, which is based on the select, the regular select, and we have a V model, which is going to selected. And so essentially, what we can see here is that the selected is a computed, and this computed reference has a getter and a setter. So really, I can use I can talk about the get, but it's basically referencing the user passed on from parent. Really what we want to take a look at is the set, because the set function is called whenever there is a change to the value. So when I'm selecting the value in the drop down here, I'm calling the set in this case. And so here in this case, I'm calling the server first, through a patch method, sending just a new value. So here the new value, this is the new color being selected, and I'm wrapping everything in the try catch. And if there's an error, then this favorite color, so that UI value, that reference, is not going to be changed. And I can actually I can specify, hey, the color has been modified, or not even actually show this, because if the color has been modified, then that means that it's been okay. And if there's an error, I can always say like, hey, there was an error, that's why the value hasn't changed on the UI. So that's really the logic that you want to take a look here in this case. Let's take a look at the optimistic color display edits. So this is the optimistic approach. We use the same way, it's just that the setter is going to be changed here in this case. It's still a computed property, but we're going to change the set here, the setter. So right away, we actually capture the old value first, just to make sure that we, if we have to revert it back, we can keep it. We right away change the value in the UI. So we change up the component tree, we change the user, and the favorite color of the user, and we say, hey, it's the new value. And then we call the server. And in this case, if nothing happens, then we don't say anything, because the user expects that if nothing was shown, then it's fine. And if there's an error, then we revert it back. User.favorite color equals old value, so we revert back, and then we add a toast saying, hey, an error occurred, the color has not been modified. And you can say like, hey, you want to try again. You can do a lot of things here in terms of user experience, but I think we'd agree that let me actually remove the error here in this case. This experience here in the optimistic approach is a much better experience and probably more up to modern standards. So just wanted to share that out. If you think that I missed a couple of things, or if you have better ways to doing things, or just want to comment, just leave a comment below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.